Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we continue with the adventure of our three player characters. They find themselves, they've proceeded through the wastes of Dunmorna. They've descended into the crevasse at the foot of the volcano. They have proceeded along the smoky bottom of the crevasse until they have reached a flight of stairs descending into a lava molded tunnel. They go down about 30 feet and they've reached a room, and there's a second room that they've discovered that had a secret door. Now, just before I get started back into the actual swing of it, just a couple of things. One, if you cast your mind back to Tristan climbing, and I mentioned the word climbing with inverted commas, down the wall, we had a dexterity check, and that probably wasn't necessary because, as you know, Tristan is a half-elf fighter thief, and he has climbing skill. And according to the player's handbook, I should have tweaked. I could have used that instead of this dexterity check. The dexterity check would probably have been applicable for the other two player characters. And we reckon that the fissure, the crevasse itself, was 20 to 30 meters. I would say 20 meters is pretty high. So I would probably go for 20 meters. On the thief skill itself, just to double check that we weren't kind of fudging it a bit. Thieves can climb walls, and that means descend walls too. First level at 85%, so he's got a very high chance. There's no racial modifiers. Half orcs are actually quite good. They must be like Spider-Man a bit, climbing around. So 85%. We actually rolled a 9 on. He had a dexterity of 11. We rolled a 9, so he would have easily got down. And also, I think at the start of the Dungeon Master's Guide, it does give some information about. Does it? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Wall climbing table, feet per round, and we did think it was probably reasonably straightforward to get down because it was rough. Here we go, rough and with ledges or many projections. That's 24 feet. So that's about 8 meters because there's about 3 feet approximately to a meter. So let's say halfway down you would check, and he passed it and he managed to get to the bottom. So I don't feel that we kind of did ourselves out of anything there. And then, for future reference, try to use the relevant skill. If the character's got that kind of skill, because AD&D isn't a skill-based system, but it does have some skills that are class-related. And I think the fact that you don't have skills, I quite like that, because it was all, things like RuneQuest. Your character sheet went on for years, and you're always worrying about what skill you had in this and that, and it was all very relevant, to the game. But you always felt it was all about a kind of maintenance type thing. Whereas AD&D, you just get on with it. You've got your class skills. That's what you're trained in, and that gives you your focus. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to address. The second was party marching order, and we never really decided that. So we've got our little avatars here. And I would say that I would think Tristan and Lindris should go first. And Dagobert is... and that they can form this kind of reverse triangle formation. Because what Dagobert does is he's got the lantern. He can hold the lantern up. And that has I think it's a 30-foot radius. So if we go into our little diagram, let's put them on that. So this is 3.5 feet each. So if they're coming down a corridor, that's how wide it's going to be. That's a 10-foot corridor from there to there. There's Tristan on the left and Lindris on the right, and Dagobert can be in the middle there. So if they come up to a door, which is here, I think doors are around about 8 feet, so they're going to be this kind of size. He can say move up here, and the light would shine in to this area. We can kind of play around with it. I haven't really sort of thought it through, just how the exact mechanics. I do know that torches have got a larger radius, but we've got the torches really there as an emergency kind of backup. We're going to use the lantern for just now. Okay, yeah, I've covered the light source. The other thing was the now I was sure that when I read the Dungeon Master's Guide long time ago, it went on about it went on about rest periods, and you were supposed to have a rest every 6 turns. And I don't know whether I'm just making that up. It's in my head, or it's been on a forum or something. But I can't find it in the Dungeon Master's Guide anywhere. And I was thinking, should I introduce a rest period every 6 turns? And I'm thinking, actually, I don't think I will. I think there's opportunities to rest during this thing. They're already under time pressure. They've probably got a lot of adrenaline that's keeping them pumping along. Say it goes on beyond 3 hours. I would say that they have to start, maybe that's the way to do it. You bring in rest periods after a certain period of time, because the intensity of the concentration that's required, if they're mapping and whatever, that is quite hard work. And it is, when you think of it, it's a very stressful environment. You go to work, you go to work, you don't expect ghouls and funny smells and howling and that sort of thing in your workplace environment. So it's probably a pretty stressful environment. So I would say after 3 hours, if we are down there that long, and I am keeping a count of everything, because I actually quite like all the administration and the logistics and whatever. And I think what after this adventure, for the next delve, I think I'm going to generate a kind of almost like a master template that has things that tracks, like I've got things here like the exploration phase, the turns. It tracks all the light the light sources we're using and how we're using that up. This periodic table check. Now remember way back to one of my earlier videos, and I talked about the size of places of mystery and how I was going to have a tiered approach. I think I will do for initial places of mysteries. I said, well, we'll do a maximum of 1 to 3 levels for initial ones, and also we'll do a maximum of 20 periodic checks every level. I'm just going to play that by ear. I think I've got a note of how many periodic checks we've done, and I think after 20, I think I might do. There was an old technique we used to use in wargaming when you had like a flank march or whatever, and I had to decide, did that flank force arrive? And I think after 20 we could roll a kind of, and it increases the chance of this occurring increases. So say we talk about this flank march scenario, and it's supposed to arrive after turn 6. You roll out on turn 6, maybe a 5 or a 6, and it arrives, and then it becomes a 4, 5, or 6 on turn 7, a 3, 4, 5, or 6. You get the idea. So we might do something like that. The other thing was dungeon dressing, and I was playing with introducing that, and that's that's one of the appendixes right at the back. This appendix, I think, is Appendix I. And this could add a bit of flavour to it. It's things like air currents and odours and things lying about in the room. And I thought, well, maybe we could try it like every time we have a periodic check for a chamber or a passage or something, say a 1 and 6, and then we consult one of these. But the only thing is, I don't really want it to maybe, because we've got an overall theme for this particular place. This is, when you think of it, this place of mystery, this Dun chamber, or Lost Palace, these are the catacombs below the destroyed palace. So they've probably got, they're probably things like, in the original days, they were things like maybe wine cellars, maybe laboratories that the evil sorceress was using, cells maybe for slaves, all sorts of maybe dark and macabre kind of intentions. So maybe if you have things like dressing and things, it might actually divert away from the thematic side. And also, I was considering how much of the environment has a presence in this, because it's a dormant volcano, but there's still geothermal activity. I think the characters noticed on the surface there was a lot of vapor and smoke and stuff like that, and maybe they detected just a slight amount of, a higher temperature, because it would have been quite cold outside anyhow, because it's March, start of March. I can vouch for it. In Scotland, that's still going to be cold, and you will feel any higher temperature quite clearly. So they probably detected a higher temperature, but it's certainly a claustrophobic atmosphere. So that's the kind of atmosphere that they've got down in the dungeon as they descend into here. Okay, so as a recap, we've got this as a kind of like our log. Now I did a wee bit of, I messed up a wee bit on the turn, because to map a 30 by 20 area, which was this, that would actually take a turn and a half, because to map a 20 by 20 takes a turn. So I've got that up as a turn and a half. And also searching, if you just do a check for a 10-foot area, that takes a round. So remember when they were checking, like, and we had Lindris, and he checked here, that's 10 feet, and then he checked here, so that's another round, he checks here, and then he checked here, and he detected the secret door. Then he has to actually work out the mechanism of the secret door, and that's what takes a lot of the time. That's a turn to do that. So he spent four rounds coming round here, finding the secret door, then working out what the mechanism is, and that was his one or two on a die 6 that he scored. So he's worked out how to, maybe he presses a button on it, or there's just a certain way of shoving the wall or something, but it gives way. And then I thought, well, maybe Tristan has got the iron spikes and stuff, and to keep the door propped open to an extent, so maybe they wriggle through here. They just push an iron spike under and give it a gentle tap, trying not to make any noise, because remember, they want to keep their noise down as much as possible. They don't want to, and they haven't really probably heard anything yet just now, because this is empty. Well, it appears to be empty. Okay, and I would say that this once they cast the light inside, they realise that there's nothing in here, and it seems very similar kind of configuration to this room. The only difference maybe being that this probably hasn't, whereas the floor on this has probably got a lot of a layer of ash and maybe slight debris that's come down from this. It's either been blown or blasted or in earlier days. So there's quite a lot of debris in this particular room. This one's probably pristine, because it maybe hasn't either hasn't been discovered, or it's never been discovered for a long time. And if an adventurer has come through here a long time ago, he's closed the secret door after him. We don't really know, but it definitely seems more kind of untouched. So what we have to do is, we're left with this situation where, according to Appendix A, yeah, this little paragraph here. So the exit is either a secret door 1 to 5 or a 1 to... So I'm saying that it's a secret door 1 to 5 on a D20 for each of those 10 feet, because it said here, it said check once per 10 foot for secret doors. And then it says see table 5D footnote. And that's what here. So that is looking like the incident is 1 to 5 on a D20. So we could go the way that they went for like a methodical kind of, but let's maybe put ourselves in the heads of the player characters now, and they you know they come into this and they look around, they map it. So that's taking another so that's a turn and a half to map that. It's taken 4 rounds to do the other thing, so that's us up to 2 turns, I would say, to do all this stuff and fully map this room and find this secret door. Or is it? No, hang on. It's taken a turn and a half to map this. It's taken 4 rounds to do that, so that's up to 2, and another round to get, so that's 3 rounds. Sorry, turns. I have to get my terminology right. Turns are the big ones. Rounds are just 1 minute. So we've done 3 turns to do that. So that's already half an hour. So it's 12:30 now. So there you can see the clock ticking, and it actually starts becoming a bit, you know, if you start going for maybe 2-3 hours, you're going to start thinking, well, actually, it's not going to get dark maybe in a few hours. We don't really want, you know, you're going to have a kind of judgment call how far you proceed. Okay, so I'm up to 3 turns now. So to map this, that's another turn and a half. So that's 1.5. And then the characters have mapped this and they think, okay, maybe it's the same kind of setup as this room, and we've got to check all the walls for secret doors. Now, are we going to do this logically, or are we just going to do it just methodically, and then, you know, clockwise, anti-clockwise like we did last time? And I would say that maybe we bring in an element of randomness here, and we decide, are they going to go for a certain wall first? And we could use the Dungeon Master's Guide just to give us, because that shows you what the location of exits are. I don't know why I keep closing this book, because I'm always having to come back to this. In fact, I've got this card here. This is what I used to use for solo role-playing quite a while ago. It's the famous, you know, you have an oracle and stuff. And I don't really, yeah, I use my reaction table now in the Dungeon Master's Guide for the oracle, the yes-no type stuff, and different flavors of yes-no. It's the same kind of idea, but, you know, I'd rather use the DMG if possible. Because as we've seen in previous videos, that reaction table, it serves all sorts of different, you know, interaction purposes, and, you know, works out mood and any type of reaction as well, not just actual physical interactions and people doing the parley and talking and negotiating, but actually just, you know, the first kind of impression that you get of people and that sort of thing. And that's what I'm hoping, just to use that all the way through, that and, you know, just have the applicable modifiers like alignment and class and you know, personality and I suppose situation's very important sometimes, and you could use your judgment there to just but you're still using a reasonably scientific method to do this stuff. Okay, I'm going to lose track of what I was talking about. Yeah, it's this bit here. So let's do a location, what we search first. And we'll use our D20. And I brought in my dice tray because I thought if we're going to be doing a lot of die rolling, it's quite nice to have that just to see. So that's a 1. Opposite wall. See, that brings out, you know, you probably think, well, that's actually quite logical, searching the opposite wall, because that was on the opposite wall before, and maybe they're just following the same logic. So what we do is we do a 1 to 5, it's this one, and a 1 to 5 is this one. So, no, and this one, 10, no. So there's no secret doors there. So they go for, what should we go for the next one? They're running out of walls. So let's just roll it anyhow and see what happens. 18, same wall. Okay. So they think, all right, maybe we try this one here. 10, no. Okay, so I can put little marks here that only I can see with my laser vision. And now I'd say 1, 2, 3, it's left, 4, 5, 6, it's right. So it's right, so they're going to check these walls here. So the first one, no. Second one, no. Just no. 6, and no. So it's going to have to be one of these, because we have to have a room, we have to have a door, because that's what it says in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So we'll try this one. No, it's not. Try this one. No. Surely our last one. 5. No. So that is one of those interesting situations where we've tried all the different options. So I would say we go back, and you remember, maybe just a comparison would be, the one that I could think that comes to mind is something as basic as, you know, the wizard, when you've got your magic user and you're selecting, or you do that thing where you've got your intelligence and you select all your spells, and you go through the list because you've got an intelligence of, say, 16, and it's like a 70% or 75%, and you go through all that list and you note down all the ones you've got, and then the only way you can get the ones that you've missed again is if you've still got some slots that you have to fill, because you know a certain number of spells, and you start going through that list again. This is exactly what we're doing here. We're just going to go through all the options again. So 1 to 5, this one. No. 1 to 5, this one. Yes. So that will be it. And seeing that we've done them all, there's only going to be one secret door, and it's here. Okay. Well, let's follow the same logic the characters had, because they looked at this one first. So I would argue that they would search, and the one that's best at searching, well, in fact, there's 2 of them, is Tristan and Lindris, because they're both, well, Lindris is an elf and Tristan's a half-elf. They can search for these things quite, they've got a lot better chance of finding. So let's do, Lindris. Lindris will try either this one or this one first. So 1, 2, 3, it's left. Yes. So he tries that one and he can't find anything. And then he goes, and Tristan tries this one, and he has a 1 and 2 chance to find, and he doesn't find anything. So they swap around, and Lindris tries here. Yeah, and he finds it again. And he says, hey, I've found something. It's very similar to the one that we just discovered in the previous room. It's like markings in the wall, and slight scratch marks and whatever, and that looks as though it's a secret door. So they get Dagobert over, and there's a bit more light in this room, and they think, I wonder if we should listen to this or not. Now, there is a mechanic in the Dungeon Master's Guide that I think this is more to do with proper doors. But you never, maybe we could apply it for a secret door, because you don't really know what you're listening into. All we know is there's going to be something on the other side. And it is here where it says, Listening at doors, use a 12-sided die, and if a 1 is rolled, there is a monster, with or without treasure. Procedure is then normal. So this gets round this mechanic of, you know, in the DMG, there's the actual listening rules. And obviously we can't really do that because we don't have a solar mechanic, but this kind of gets round it somehow. So I would say let's, bearing in mind that the time is ticking, maybe we don't do it this time and we just try to open the door. The characters, see, this is what your dungeon master says you shouldn't do. Sit there and hum and haw. You should have a plan of action. I think it's 4 rounds already that we've done, because let's see, that was to map that. We're up to 4.5, and then to find these ones, we only tried it with this one, so that was a round, and that was 2 rounds. So we're up to 7 rounds, and that has taken a turn. So that's 5, and it's almost 3/4. So we're almost up to the Wandering Monster check, which is like every 6. So I would say maybe we should just have a little rest for a bit. Let's have a Wandering Monster check. We'll make sure we'll do an inventory check of all our equipment and whatever. We'll have a little plan that when we come through a door, it'll maybe Lindris first, because he's got the best armor and he's got his sword, and then Tristan behind, and then Dagobert. And both Lindris and Tristan have got ultravision, so if it's very dark, they can probably see without the need of artificial light, because artificial light spoils. Oh, is it infravision or ultravision? Infravision. I've got infravision. They can see like heat sources, you know, that bit like the Predator type thing, where you can see a kind of shape. So I would say let's do the Wandering Monster check first. And what was I said? Was it a 1? Yeah, 1 in 10 every 6 turns. So is there a Wandering Monster? No. Phew. Because that could have been quite nasty. So they decide, let's open this door. So Lindris gives it a push. He's worked out the mechanism. He knows how to deal with it. And we have a check what's on the other side. And this is where we use this Space Beyond door D20. So let's see what we get. We get a 14. Room. Go to table 5. Okay. That's a room. So let's see what size of room it is. Roll D20. 6. Square 30 by 30. Okay. Right. So we've established that we have another room, and we've agreed we're now up to 6. So we get rid of that. It's another period. It's not a periodic check because we've done something at Space Beyond a door, so we haven't gone back to the. We only do this when we go back to the periodic check table. We have room 3, 30 by 30, and we don't know what's in it yet, but we'll just make the notes. Okay, now the positioning of this room, again, I will do it based on, let's see, it's probably likely to be at the middle, you coming into the middle, but you never know. So let's do a 1 to 3, and it is square, so it doesn't matter what aspect it is. So 1, 2, 1 or 2, this is the far left of it. 2 or 3 it's the middle, and 3, 4 it's it's the far right. So let's do a roll, and that's a 3. So it's in the middle. So that means it goes like this. Let's get a bit closer to it. Map this out here. Now, when you're looking at this formation of this, you know, how it's been set up just now, it's amazingly regular. You know, quite often you do these things and you've got things going off in angles and, you know, crosses and all sorts of stuff. Whereas this is all, you know, this is like the perfect dungeon. It just hasn't got anything in it. Maybe it's just a testing ground for the characters, so that they can get themselves familiarized with how to deal with, you know, how to deal with all their inventory and all their light sources and time management. Time management is a very vital skill. You know, they've already spent, that's an hour that they've spent down there. So that's 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. You know, time marches on. Okay, so that's us mapped it. We do size, exits, so number of exits. Now our track record on this is pretty bad. It's 900 square feet. And we know what our track record is, that we get secret doors every time. So let's see if we get something different this time. 11. Yes. Oh no. Oh, surely not. Yeah. 0, that's 10 to 12, up to 1200. The old secret door. Does anyone actually ever build a door in this? A proper door? You know, what's the point? You just wonder. Maybe the previous owner, this evil sorceress, Callistra, she had lots of different hidden chambers with lots of different things going on in them, and only she had the understanding of what all these secret doors was. So it's a bit maybe like a kind of Hogwarts type thing, that they could get around all these back areas through these secret doors. It's almost like a secret cult or something, that they just know what's there. So again, we're going to have this thing exactly like these other rooms, but just on a bigger scale, a 30 by 30. Okay, so that is worthy of note. So I'll put that down. I haven't got an entry. I've got a secret door. And it's a bit like this, to be found, whereas we've found that one. So I can give a wee score of that. Okay. But the role that we've all been waiting for, chamber or room contents. Okay, what's it going to be? D20. What are we going to get? 17. Oh, yes. Monster and treasure. Yes, at last. Okay. So we won't do the treasure yet, but we will do the monster. Now, the way you do monsters in this, in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Appendix A, is that you go to this table here. And based on the level of the dungeon, this will give you the monster level table to consult. So each of these have got, there's the monster level 1, all supposedly 1 hit dice monsters, that type of thing. So we have to roll a d20 to get the monster level. 20. Wow, we are going to get a level 3 monster in as our first encounter. That's a 20. You saw it here. This could be our party wipeout. The only thing we've got going for us is that a level 3 monster on the first level will be limited to the cap. So we've currently got a cap of 6 hit dice on our characters. So you will have a 6 hit dice cap on this level 3 monster. So let's see what we get. So here's monster level 3. And let's see the sort of things that are on it. Dragon? Come on. Right. What else have we got? Ghoul, lizard. Well, I could imagine a ghoul or something, because maybe they've been locked away in this and we've just discovered them. Rock grub, shrieker, spider, huge. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Right. I think we have to try and find out what we've got facing us. Now, we have got just before we do this roll, let's just think about what our characters have kind of primed themselves for. Now, the spell that that is relevant for this type of occasion, apart from the cure of minor wounds, which might have to come in if we get into combat, is Lindris, and he's got his hold portal spell. Now, he could cast a hold portal on the secret door and basically wedge this shut and say, whoa, this is too much. The only downside from that is that this currently, according to our schematic, is the only potential room that we can use as a kind of jumping off point to explore the rest of the dungeon. We are kind of snookered otherwise. We don't have any exits here. We don't have any exits here. We've got some potential exits here. What we could maybe do is research these and try and say, well, maybe there are some other secret doors. But we've already done it once. Certainly, we've exhausted the inventory there, and we did a kind of a basic check there, and we discounted a couple. But let's just see. I think we need to determine exactly what we're facing here before we make any rash decisions. So we have got 79. 79 is spider huge. Whoa. 1 to 3. Okay. I was going to say it could be worse, but I've just been watching The Hobbit again, and I got to that bit where they're in Mirkwood, and they've got the giant spiders, and I tell you, if that's what they're like, the characters are going to have a hard time. Spider. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, this is. I've got them. Sure, this is one of my thumbnails in one of my videos. And my goodness, doesn't that terrify you? That's exactly the situation these guys are in. They've got this waiting to pounce with its 6 legs. Just got this guy. I always wonder this guy. He's going, look, oi, look up there. It's just kind of very useful finger pointing. Spider, huge, common, number appearing 1 to 12, armor class 6, move. So they've got hit dice 2+2. Okay. Right. Okay. There's nothing else relevant. Huge spider. The typical huge spider is not a web builder, but a roving hunter, such as a wolf spider. It can so it's not like this it's sitting up here. It can leap 3 inches upon prey and deliver its deadly bite. Others of this ilk build carefully hidden places of concealment and rush forth upon prey, i.e. trapdoor spiders or huge size. All saving throws versus the poison of huge spiders are at +1 on the dice. Note that these creatures surprise prey on a roll of 1 to 5 out of 6. Okay. think we need to determine the numbers. Numbers first, and then we'll do surprise. Now, I would argue that because usually doors, you have to force them to get them open. Now, this secret door, it's probably got a different kind of mechanism, and say that it's not maybe silent, but maybe it hasn't alerted the spiders, and we've got a chance of rolling our surprise dice and seeing what happens. But let's work out the hit dice first. So that's 2 plus 2. So according to the Dungeon Master's Guide, there was going to be spider huge 1 to 3. So we can face a maximum of 6. So that is a maximum of 2, I would say, because if we just do the mathematics on this, spider is 2 plus 2. Our characters are level 1, and there's 3 of them, and we multiply that by 2 as the max. So that's 6. So that's 6 hit dice. So two spiders would be 4 plus 4, and 3 would be 6. 6 plus 6. So that's slightly over. So I would argue it's 1 to 2. 1 to 2 of them. So let's see how many we've got. 1 to 2. 1's enough. 2. Oh no. Two huge spiders. What's their distance? Now, according to the DM guide, if it was along corridor, you probably do a distance of 5 plus 1 die 4, I think. This has got, they could either be very close or they could be at the other side. So I would say that it's going to be, looking at these tiers, it's going to be 1, 2, or 3. They're either going to be lurking right here, just ready for us to come through, or they're going to be in second tier or in this third tier. This could be very important. Oh, they're in this tier, so they're really close. So I would argue that there's probably one here, and there's probably one here. Oh dear. So it's all going to come down to surprise. Now, does these have any particular surprise abilities? No, I think they're just like other. Oh, all saving throws. Others of this ilk build care. Alright, I better read this carefully because these can surprise. So the typical huge spider is not a web builder, but a roving hunter, such as a wolf spider. Okay. It can leap 3 inches upon prey and deliver its deadly bite. Okay. Others of this ilk build carefully hidden places of concealment and rush forth upon prey, i.e. trapdoor spiders of huge size. All saving... Note that these creatures surprise prey on a roll of 1 to 5 out of 6. No! Okay, so I think we've got a choice here. We've either got these roving ones that are like hunters, and how have they got in there? Or we've got these trapdoor ones. I think we have to just do a 50-50 on that. And hope that they are rovers. Yeah. And not trapdoors. So we'll do 1 to 3 wolf, 4 to 5 trapdoor. Oh no, this is terrible. We're on the trapdoor spiders. So they will surprise on a 1 to 5. Okay, so we're just gonna have to do the old surprise check. Now the characters are 1 to 2 and the spiders are a 1 to 5. They surprise. So let's see what the surprise rolls are. So spider is a 3, so they surprise the characters, and the characters are not surprised. Okay. So I think the way that you do it for this is, so let's just work out the logic here. So the spiders have surprised the characters, according to this, but the characters have got a surprise roll of 4. So I would say it's 4 minus 3. The spiders have 1 surprise segment of surprise. That's what to do. Now the only thing, so let's make a note of that. Surprise equals 1 segment. So these trapdoor spiders, they suddenly come out of their pits or whatever and go, whoa, like that. Now, the only thing that can mitigate surprise is dexterity. So let's have a look at our character's dexterity. Yeah, so Tristan, he doesn't stand a chance. Dagobert, no, he's got a 12. But Lindris has got a fantastic dexterity. He's got an excellent one. And he gets, I think the +2 refers to, yeah, the +2 refers to the periods that dexterity. So reaction attacking adjustment, 17, +2, refers to the penalty or bonus applicable to a character saving throw against certain forms of attack. Dodging implies missile combat. Oh, sorry, that's the defensive. The reaction attacking adjustment is the penalty or bonus for both surprise situations and missile combat attacks. Yeah, so Lindris individually, this isn't party-wide, gets +2. He can remove 2 surprise segments from his. So he isn't surprised, according to that. Whereas the other 2 are surprised by 1 segment. So I think that's going to make a difference, because if Lindris can get the initiative, he could say hold portal and maybe buy them some time, and then they can think of maybe a different strategy to get into there. Or maybe this is just too difficult for them to attack just now, or they have to come up with a different method. Do they really want to face two spiders and fight them? That's a difficult one, isn't it? But at least we know that Lindris is on equal terms with them, and they can jump 3 feet. Okay, let's just set this up and see what it would look like. Now the only thing I'm a bit concerned about is that our time is, so we might have to, I don't want to go out beyond an hour. I have to say, my wife says, look, for goodness sake, you've been going on you keep on saying it's going to be 30 minutes and you end up with 40 minutes, and then the last one you said 40 minutes and it ended up with almost an hour. I've got to try and keep it down to an hour tops. So we've got maybe another 10 minutes. But I think that's going to be long enough just to come up with some decisions. And even if we don't resolve this combat just now, at least we've seen where the characters have got to, and maybe some of the hard choices they've got to make. Now I know this seems very slow and pedantic, but it's almost like you're in like the Matrix or something, and it's all that slow motion type stuff, and bullets are coming past you, but they're like coming really slow through the air, and it's all that kind of slow movement. That's how your brains are working. It's like this kind of methodical thinking that's going on, but there's a lot of action happening. There's all sorts of stuff. There's explosions all over the place. There's spiders jumping out. There's howling in the background. There's everything that's going on, but it's in slow motion. So this gives you the time to kind of see through things and try and work things out. Because remember, these characters are super people. They've got very sharp brains, and they're used to dealing with their reflexes, and their brains are working really, really fast. So what seems like really slow is probably quite okay for them. So, no, it's the other way. If it seems like things that they are coming to terms with things very quickly, and that would seem very fast to us, whereas like the rest of the world seems to be going quite slow. I'm not really explaining myself very well. I think I'm better off just showing this. So it's 30 by 30, so that's going to be 9 by 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got a little. See, I can put little pencil marks on here and then rub them off. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So almost down to here. So that's a nice big area that we've got. And we've come through 1, 2, 3. So we've got a secret door that's come through into this bit here. And our characters, we've had Lindris in the middle, and he's pushing on the door. And then we've had Dagobert probably on this side, and Tristan here. And then we've got these spiders right in the corner here, and right in the corner here. And they're waiting in their trapdoors or whatever kind of things. And you wonder whether these have been placed as in a kind of sort of magical way, as predators waiting. Just wonder how they survive. But maybe we shouldn't really go into the semantics of dungeon survival and economic type stuff, because you probably figure around in circles then. Let's just face the situation as it stands just now. We do know that Tristan he's got one segment he's inactive, Dagobert's got one segment he's inactive, and Lindris is on equal terms with these two predators, who will be able to jump here and probably force their way through and attack. I would say that they could probably attack through this, or maybe one at a time, because are they huge? I would say huge. It could be important, because sometimes you're limited to how many you can actually face. Spider. Frequency, common, size. Now, even though it's called a huge spider, it's medium size. So they are almost like kind of man size. So they are a bit like that size, I presume, like that monster. It's just that they scuttle around like wolf spiders. So they've probably got those spindly legs and big bodies and almost like kind of furry bodies. Really quite horrible, yes, and very fast, no doubt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would say it's just going to come down to reaction, to an initiative roll, because they're on equal terms. Lindris, these two, we'll do an initiative roll. Spiders are black, and we are green. We are red. Equal. What do you do with a tie? Well, the character's going to risk it, or are they going to do the whole portal and then come back? suppose with the whole portal, let's just check on that. I would say that Lindris has probably got a good chance to get, as they leap across, he can be saying Portalis, Holdatis, you know, that kind of thing, and they kind of jump here, and they're just about to get their mandibles and feelers and whatever through legs, I suppose, legs through, but they're not quite. I think he's got a good chance of getting that spell off if it's only going to take. Let's have a look. This could be all come down to how many segments this thing takes. I hope none of these characters aren't scared of spiders too. I'm okay with spiders actually. You know, obviously like tarantulas and stuff like that, you don't really want them crawling all over you, but I'm the kind of family go-to guy when it comes to spiders. I get the orders, oh, there's a spider, Brian, come and get it, and I come to the rescue. Hold portal. Casting time 1 segment. Components is verbal. Yes, so it's like Portalis, Holdatis, you know, that kind of utterance. This spell magically bars a door, gate, or a valve of wood, metal, or stone. The magical closure holds the portal fast, just as if it were securely stopped and locked. The range of the spell is 2 foot per level of experience of the caster, and it lasts for 1 round per level. Okay. Note that any extra dimension, alright, so we don't have that, will shatter. A magic user of 4, so magic users of higher levels can knock through, and knock spells can get it. Hell portals can be broken or battered down. Okay. So I would say they're only going to hold it, it lasts for 1 round per level. So it's only going to last for a round. So that's only that's 1 minute. So the characters, this is on the basis that the spiders will bash their way through. I suppose they've got a smell of man flesh and elf flesh and half elf flesh. They're probably starving. They haven't had anything. They're ravenous. They haven't had anything to eat for millennia. It could be. Well, it's maybe 170 years. They're starving. Okay. I think we just go on the basis we retire, regroup. We know what our opposition is. Lindris has a split second decision. He goes Portalis, Holdatis, and the door slams shut. It seals, you know, through. It's got the seal, and it also kind of closes tight. And you hear this banging on the other side. It's bang, 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 bang of these spiders kind of forcing their way. And we decide to retire back and think about what we're going to do for the next video. So that's a good way to kind of stop it on we haven't actually got into doing anything, but we have had quite a scare. Let's call it a jump scare of spiders. And I think that's one of the great things about Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It really is like, even like monsters like this and just the situation and whatever, it's still quite you know, it really gets the hairs standing up on the back of your neck. Okay, I think I'll call it a day just now, and we'll continue this, to be continued. But we do know that we have an issue to deal with, because according to our map, we now have known adversaries. And the other thing, remember, what else was on that thing? It wasn't just monsters. It was monsters and treasure. So there is some treasure there. We just haven't seen it because we haven't mapped it. So there is an imperative to get back, slay those 2 spiders, because we know they're a known quantity. And we also know they're there. So as long as they don't force their way out, which maybe we will do a kind of roll next time to see, are they going to be use their animal intelligence and try to pursue the characters, or are they just going to be put off? Right. Okay. I think that's enough excitement for today. We'll continue this next time. Okay. Just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.